Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to do a demo about picture framing, just picture framing, oil paintings or acrylic. For those of you who'd like a little extra help with that, I've assembled some stuff together. I actually made this video once before, but it was too choppy. So I'm going to be using my webcam today, which is, I think that was the reason why it was choppy, because it was on my phone. Anyway, so we'll go through some of the tools that we need to do that, and we will go through the process of doing it. I have a picture here, an 8x10 painting. It's on a panel. It's a little bit different when you have it on a stretched canvas. That will be part of another video. I have a frame here, not the best frame in the world. It's got something in it right now. It's pretty cheap, but it's something, it's my only 8x10 frame, so I'm going to use it to show you show you how to do it. So first of all, I am going to show you these materials. So here I have some things you need. Some things are optional or interchangeable with other things. So basically, I have some picture wire here. The best picture wire to get is coated. It's coated with some kind of plastic. This is extremely heavy duty wire, probably heavier than, I know it's heavier than what I need. That's what I've got. Now I bought this big spool when I was a picture framer. These things cost about $75, but it will last you till the end of time. So that's helpful. I have some other kind of picture wire here. Now this stuff is not, it's braided. It's not coated with anything. And so it's not ideal to use. I'll put it kind of against that, because it will come unraveled and it will stick you. It also will rust. So it doesn't look very good. So you can use this in a pinch. And sometimes we are in that position where we're like, I just have to get something to work. So this will work. But if you can, try to get coated picture wire. You're also going to need wire cutters, screwdriver, or drill if you got a drill. I have a couple razor blades that I'm going to be using I put some tape on it to make it easier to hold. I have these D-rings right here. These D-rings, I'll just put it down there right there, are things that we use to put the wire on. They are much more preferable to screw eyes. Screw eyes are these things. Let's see if I can make this easier to see. They have little circular things attached to screws. They're not desirable. They don't hold, well, they can break. They can rip the wood apart. They don't have the same strength to hold a picture as D-rings do. Plus they stick out from the back. So you're gonna have that problem. So you can use them in a pinch, ideally don't though. And finally, I have something here called a point driver. Now there's another one I have here as well. It's out of my way for the second. So there are things that you can use to put those points in, put them up against the inside of the frame, give them a little, kind of see it. Now I have two kinds here. One is a rigid point driver, one is a flexible point driver. So this is the kind of points that you typically find in ready-made frames that you can pop up. And I just took a bunch out of this one. And you can use the ones that come in the frame. Sometimes the way they're put in there, it makes it hard to get your picture in and out. So I usually will just take them out and put new ones in. Today I'm going to be using the flex point driver because I don't have any points for this. These are the points. They come in these little, you know, like bullets or staples. These little things, these go with these. So I'm not going to use this right now. Everywhere I've ever worked, they have preferred the rigid point drivers. Just happens to be what we use. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because these sometimes can jam up and that gets really annoying. So this is something you need some kind of a point driver. Because when the points come out of these things, if you buy them, you're going to have to replace them somehow. These are about $66, 60 plus. So I'm going to load it now. I just kind of pull this thing up like this, and then I pop these in. Pointy side up. Like so, put that back down. It's ready to go. These tend to jam up quite a bit, so that will probably happen. I have a frame here. This frame is super cheap. I hope it's even wood. It's hard to tell. I've already taken foam. You want to be able to protect the surface of your frame as you're working because it will get scratched. So this is printmaking felt that I just happen to have. So I'm going to go ahead and put my panel in there like so. You can put your name on it and stuff on the back if you want to. Once you get that in there, you take your point driver and I just hold it up against the side. I pour this way because you can't blow out these corners if you're not careful. So I hold it, give it a little shoot it in there, and you can see there's one there. You don't need to use that many. So now it's in there. Pretty simple. Now, here comes the pretty part. So once I've done this, I'm going to put a dust cover on the back. Probably have to go get some paper. And I use ATG tape. I forgot to show you that in the beginning. ATG tape is the tape is not the brown stuff, it's just the sticky stuff, and it's inside of there. This is a tape gun. Scotch ATG, this is what I'm saying, ATG. So this is a tape gun you can get. It gets a little complicated and it can get gummed up in there. I got this at Goodwill, amazingly enough. Again, cost about $60. It's not really necessary because you can just use it this way. So I find the sticky side, not too hard. Be careful because this will stick to everything. And what I do is I just, I roll some out and I just put it down, sticky side down, give it a little smooth. And then I should make sure that tape is released over here. And then I just pull it. You can see it's shiny. Try to not have it coming over these edges. It'll make it hard to trim your paper. Put one here, to here, boom, here. So you don't really need the gun. The nice thing about the gun is it keeps it from getting stuck to everything. But like I said, it's not necessary. You can get this at a frame shop. Often they'll sell you a single roll. It cost me about $10. Put that on there. Boom. All right. You can see that sticky stuff on there right now. And then we want to get a dust cover for the back. Paper. And I usually try to make it a little easier for myself. So be careful because once it sticks, it sticks. Good. I'm going to put it right along this edge. That's one edge. I make sure it's lined up nicely. And then I smooth the other ones down. Now, the bigger these are, the trickier that gets to do it nicely, but you'll get it with practice. Then I go and I just kind of fold those edges so that they're creased. Makes it easier for me to cut it. And then I take my razor blade, hold my knife at an angle, and I just like that. Quite satisfying. Same up here. Now again, if there's ATG on the edge of your frame, it's gonna mess up your cutting. I'm gonna do the same thing right here. Get it nice and just like that. So if you have any bits that are kind of popping off, like this is right here, you can actually just take a sand, a little more, don't overdo it. You don't want to damage your frame. There we go. All right, nice and clean. So once that's done, I'm going to put the wire on. So I'm going to flip this over towards me. It's just as a habit we got into was having the top closest to it. Find, get my pencil. Long. Again, you can probably get a framer to sell you a couple of these if you don't want to buy a bunch. So something to be careful when before you start screwing into your frame, you know, you might have, you know, different frames have different profiles. This one is fairly, you know, straightforward, but some more decorative frames have thinner parts, like there'll be scoops in or they'll be starting scooped and then scoop out. So you have to be careful before you put that screw in that screw is not going to be going through a thin part of the frame and might pop through. In this case, we don't have to worry about that. All right, so I've got my marks. Now I don't want to put I'm going to use my awl. This is an awl. Just got a pointy thing on the end. I got it at a garage sale. It's like super old. And first, I just want to position it. Make sure it's not going to be poking off of the edge. So I just position it and I'm going to just stick a hole there. And I do this because I don't want to have to get my drill out. I'm just trying to have a hole to start with. And because I'm not sure this is real wood. Okay, everyone, I had to switch locations. Sorry about that. It's probably a little jerky. I couldn't get enough internet where I was. So we're just finishing this up. So sorry, the light's not ideal, but so I put this D-ring on already. This one, I'm gonna, again, place it on there so make sure the metal's not going over that edge. You don't want to have that look. We don't want it sticking out because it's not attractive. Okay, so I do have a little pilot hole there. I'm just gonna find it. Not much of a pilot hole. Okay, just find that in there, and then I'm gonna use this. Again, you can also use a power drill, especially if you got a lot to do. Give it a little bit of elbow grease there. Like I said, I don't think it's real wood. It's probably particle board. Okay, so those are on. The next thing is the wire. So this wire's got to find the end of it. There it is. Okay, this wire is much thicker than I need for this, but this is just what I have. So I don't need to measure the wire. I just need to have, you know, I usually have some over on either side and then I'll just cut it right here. Okay, well, this part, I just want to thread it from the inside out, like so. And I just, you know, I bend this over, so it's crimped like that. And then I bring it back through and I do a second one. Really pulling on that tight. And then I'm going to wrap it around again. See, it's kind of crimped. If you can see that, just wrap it around a couple times. And then I'm just going to do the wrapping. I'll try to wrap it fairly tightly. I'm just going to wrap it around the rest of the. So if you don't have a lot of wire to work with, it's actually a bit harder. So what can happen in this stage is you pierce your paper because your wire pierces it or something. Not my best work, but there it is. Then I take this, do the same thing, go in through the inside out. I pull it tight usually and pull it over, crimp it, there's a fancy knot you can do, but I am not going to do that today because this wire is way too thick. Pull it over. Ugh, see, I'm using quite a bit of strength. Now that's got a nice little kind of crimp in that, you can kind of see. And then I'm just going to wrap this around. I'm holding on to this and just wrapping this. I used to be much better at this stuff. Round, round, round. And I don't need all that extra wire, so I'm going to cut it down like so. And there you have it. So you got a little bit sticking up here. I'm going to just pull that down. There it is. So when I flip it over, I got a nice piece. It's wired up nicely. You can put your name on the back so people, know who you are. And that's really it. So sorry, I had to change locations. So that's it really. Now, if you have a stretched canvas that has it's a quarter or half an inch thick or 3/4 of an inch thick or deeper, that gets a little complicated, and you need some things called, well, I call them steps, but they look like little metal steps, and you can put your piece in your frame but it will stick out for most of these kinds of frames, unless you get a custom frame that doesn't do that. Even then sometimes you have to use these, and it there's a part you can screw it onto the frame, and then it steps up to whatever height you need it to really clamp that painting in there. It's just basically adding another step so you can, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm having enough technical difficulties right now. So hopefully I'll get all this together and I will share that with you. Let me know if you have any questions about it, or if I can help you in any way. And so, yeah, I hope you got something out of that. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.